Welcome to another peaceful journey through the corridors of time, dear friend. Before we begin tonight's exploration into the rigorous world of Rome's most dedicated warriors, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you find comfort and wisdom in these historical bedtime stories, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps more people discover these gentle adventures through time, and it lets me know you're enjoying our nighttime wanderings through the grand tapestry of human achievement. Now, settle in comfortably as we drift back through the centuries to witness a single day in the extraordinary life of those who forged the backbone of the greatest military machine in history. Close your eyes and let yourself journey to the moment when dawn breaks over a Roman military camp, where discipline, honor, and unwavering dedication transformed ordinary men into legendary leaders. Tonight, I invite you to experience 24 hours in the life of Marcus Aurelius Maximus, a seasoned centurion of the 10th Legion, as he guides his century through the demanding routine that maintained Rome's military supremacy for over 4 centuries. Let me walk you through every moment, from the pre-dawn preparations to the evening's final inspection, feeling the weight of responsibility that rested upon these remarkable officers. The darkness before dawn holds a special quality in a Roman military camp, thick with anticipation and the quiet sounds of men preparing for another day of relentless training. Marcus steers in his tent as the first horn sounds across the camp, its brass notes cutting through the morning mist that rises from the nearby river. Unlike his men who sleep 8 to a tent in their leather contubernum, Marcus enjoys the solitude of his own quarters, a privilege earned through years of proven leadership and decorated service. His first task requires no conscious thought, muscle memory guiding him through the ritual of donning his equipment. The bronze-studded military belt, the cingulum, settles around his waist with familiar weight, its dangling straps clicking softly as he adjusts the positioning. His lorica segmentata follows, each articulated plate sliding into place with practiced efficiency. The transverse crest on his helmet catches the lamplight as he secures it, the red horsehair plume marking him unmistakably as a centurion even in the dim pre-dawn hours. The camp springs to life around him as he emerges from his tent, the ordered chaos of 5,000 men beginning their daily transformation from sleeping soldiers to a disciplined fighting machine. Marcus moves through the neat rows of leather tents, his hobnailed calici crunching on the gravel paths, laid out according to the standardized camp design that every Roman soldier knows by heart. The sound of his approaching footsteps sends ripples of activity through his sentries section of the camp. His optio, the second in command who serves as his right hand, appears at his side with the day's roster and reports from the night watch. 3 men reported minor ailments to the camp medicus, one requiring exemption from the day's marching drill. 2 soldiers had been caught gambling after lights out and await disciplinary action. A messenger arrived during the 3rd watch with dispatches from the legate, including orders for advanced formation training and notification that supply wagons would arrive before midday. Marcus absorbs this information while conducting his visual inspection of the sentries' quarters. Each tent must be aligned precisely, guy ropes, tout, and entrances facing the same direction. Personal equipment hangs from standardized posts in regulation arrangement. Any deviation from this exacting standard would result in additional duties for the entire contubernum, a system that encouraged mutual accountability among the men who shared each tent. The second horn blast signals the formal beginning of the day, and Marcus takes his position before his assembled century. 80 men stand in perfect ranks, their armor gleaming despite the early hour, shields held at regulation angle, pila standing vertically beside each soldier. These are not the fresh-faced recruits who arrive trembling from Italian farms, but veterans whose scarred faces and steady eyes speak of countless campaigns and battles survived through skill and brotherhood. Marcus begins the morning inspection, moving through the ranks with the measured pace that marks a professional soldier. He examines each man's equipment with meticulous attention, checking the edge on gladii, the tightness of armor straps, the condition of shield bindings. A loose chin strap earns a sharp rebuke and extra duties. A naked sword blade results in immediate dismissal to the armorer. These standards, enforced without exception, mean the difference between life and death when battle comes. The morning parade follows the inspection, as centurions from all 60 centuries report to the camp's central plaza. The legion's eagle gleams in the strengthening sunlight as the aquilifer takes his position beside the legate. Orders flow down through the military hierarchy with clockwork precision, each centurion receiving specific assignments for his unit. Today we'll focus on advanced tactical maneuvers, weapons training against the palace posts, and the construction of practice siege works. Marcus returns to his century with detailed instructions for the day's training schedule. The morning will begin with physical conditioning, followed by weapons drill, then formation practice. The afternoon will feature engineering work on temporary fortifications, with the day concluding with individual combat training and equipment maintenance. It is a schedule that has been refined through centuries of military experience, designed to maintain peak readiness in every aspect of Roman warfare. The physical training begins as the sun clears the eastern hills, its rays warming the training ground that lies just outside the camp's defensive perimeter. Marcus leads his men through the warm-up routine that prepares their bodies for the demands ahead. Arm circles and leg swings are followed by progressively more vigorous exercises, each movement performed in perfect unison as 80 bodies move as one organism. The running begins at a steady pace, the entire century moving in formation through the countryside surrounding the camp. Marcus sets the pace from his position at the front, his vine staff held casually but ready to correct any soldier who falls out of step. The route covers exactly 20 Roman miles, a distance that must be completed in 5 hours of regular marching or 4 hours at the quick step. Today calls for the faster pace, a test of the endurance that distinguishes Roman soldiers from their enemies. The weighted marching packs add 45 pounds to each man's burden, simulating the campaign conditions where soldiers must carry their entire world on their backs. Personal armor, weapons, tools for camp construction, rations, and cooking equipment all jostle in the carefully organized sasina that every legionary learns to pack with mathematical precision. The steady rhythm of hobnailed boots on stone creates a percussion that has echoed along Roman roads from Britain to Mesopotamia. Marcus monitors his men constantly during the march, watching for signs of fatigue or distress that might compromise unit effectiveness. A centurion who loses men to heat exhaustion or injury faces uncomfortable questions from his superiors. More importantly, these soldiers depend on each other for survival and battle, and physical weakness in one man can doom an entire unit. The training is deliberately harsh because warfare will be harsher still. The return to camp brings no respite, as the century immediately transitions to weapons training at the practice grounds. Rows of wooden posts, each exactly 6 feet tall and sunk deep into the earth, await the soldiers' attention. These palace posts have absorbed countless hours of sword work, their surfaces scarred and splintered by generations of gladies wielded in training. Each soldier takes position before his assigned post, wooden practice sword and wicker shield in hand. The practice weapons are deliberately crafted to weigh twice as much as their combat counterparts, a training philosophy that Marcus learned from his own centurion decades ago. If a soldier can fight effectively with heavy practice gear, the lighter combat equipment will feel swift and maneuverable by comparison. The wicker shields, reinforced with iron studs, provide protection during training while teaching proper defensive techniques. Marcus calls out the sequence of attacks, his voice carrying clearly across the training ground. Thrust to the throat, withdraw. Thrust to the belly, withdraw. Cut to the thigh. Return to guard position. Each movement must be executed with precision and power, the gladius following the shortest possible path to its target. Roman sword technique emphasizes thrusting over slashing, a method that proves devastatingly effective in close formation fighting, where there is little room for sweeping cuts. The steady rhythm of wood striking wood fills the air as 80 soldiers work through their individual drills. Marcus moves among them, correcting technique with sharp words or demonstrating proper form when necessary. A thrust that travels too far from the body leaves a soldier vulnerable to counterattack. A shield held too low exposes the upper torso to enemy weapons. These lessons, learned through repetition until they become instinctive, determine who lives and who dies in the chaos of battle. Partner drills follow individual practice, as soldiers pair off to test their skills, against human opponents rather than wooden posts. Marcus closely supervises these exercises, knowing that even practice weapons can cause serious injury if wielded carelessly. The rules are strict. Control must be maintained at all times, strikes must stop short of actual contact, and any sign of genuine anger or loss of temper results in immediate punishment. The midday break provides welcome relief from the morning's exertions, as soldiers gather in their tent groups to share the day's main meal. The simple fare of bread, olives, cheese, and diluted wine provides the calories needed for continued training while maintaining the digestive simplicity that keeps soldiers ready for action. Marcus uses this time to review his written reports and consult with his optio about the afternoon's planned activities. The engineering training that follows lunch demonstrates another dimension of Roman military excellence. Every legionary must master the construction skills needed to build the temporary camps that protect Roman armies during campaign seasons. Marcus assigns specific tasks to each contubernium, distributing the tools carried in their personal equipment for this purpose. Some soldiers begin digging the ditch that will surround their practice fortification, their spades biting into the earth with mechanical efficiency. Others fell trees and trim branches for the palisade stakes that will crown the rampart. Still others gather stones for reinforcing the defensive works, or prepare the surveying instruments needed to lay out the camp according to regulation dimensions. Marcus supervises every aspect of the construction, his experienced eye catching deviations from the precise standards that Roman military engineering demands. The ditch must be exactly 6 feet wide and 4 feet deep, with sloping sides that prevent easy climbing. The rampart must rise to a specific height, properly compacted to support the weight of defenders and their equipment. The palisade stakes must be sharpened to precise points and spaced, according to regulations that ensure maximum defensive effectiveness. This is not busy work designed to occupy idle soldiers, but essential training in the skills that keep Roman armies alive in hostile territory. Every night on campaign, Roman forces construct fortified camps that transform any location into a temporary fortress, capable of withstanding enemy attack. The speed and precision with which these camps can be erected often determines the success or failure of military operations. The afternoon heat intensifies as the engineering work continues, but Marcus allows no relaxation in the standards he demands. Sweat pours from his men as they labor with pick and shovel, their efforts creating a miniature version of the massive fortifications that protect Roman frontiers throughout the empire. Each soldier learns not only how to perform his specific tasks, but also how his work fits into the larger pattern of Roman military engineering. Formation training begins as the sun starts its descent toward the western horizon, the day's heat giving way to the cooler air that makes complex maneuvers more comfortable. Marcus assembles his century in the fighting formation that has carried Roman eagles to victory on countless battlefields. The front rank locks shields in the solid wall that forms the foundation of Roman tactics, while subsequent ranks prepare to support and replace casualties. The testudo or tortoise formation requires precise coordination among multiple ranks of soldiers, their shields interlocking to create mobile protection against enemy missiles. Marcus calls out the commands that trigger each movement, watching carefully as his soldiers adjust their positions to maintain the protective shell while advancing across varied terrain. A gap in the shield wall can prove fatal when arrows and javelins rain down from enemy positions. Rotation drills follow, as fresh soldiers from rear ranks move forward to replace tired comrades in the front line. This complex maneuver, executed smoothly under battlefield conditions, allows Roman formations to maintain combat effectiveness far longer than enemies who must fight until exhaustion without relief. The timing must be perfect, the movements coordinated, the transitions seamless. Marcus introduces variations in the training scenario, simulating the unexpected challenges that arise in actual combat. Enemy cavalry attacking from the flanks requires rapid reformation into defensive squares. Broken ground disrupts normal formation intervals and demands individual initiative within overall unit cohesion. These lessons, learned in the safety of the training ground, prepare soldiers for the chaos and confusion of real warfare. Swimming training takes advantage of the river that flows near the camp, its clear waters providing both recreation and essential military preparation. Roman soldiers must be capable of crossing water obstacles while carrying their equipment, a skill that often proves crucial during campaign operations. Marcus leads his century to the riverbank, where they practice entering the water in formation while maintaining their weapons and shields. Some soldiers struggle with the additional weight of their gear, but Marcus insists that they master swimming while fully equipped. Rivers are not always crossed by bridges, and armies in pursuit or retreat frequently find themselves forced to swim. The soldier who cannot negotiate water obstacles while armed and armored becomes a liability to his unit and a danger to himself. The afternoon's final training session returns to individual combat skills, as soldiers practice the sword and shield techniques that form the foundation of Roman fighting effectiveness. Marcus pairs experienced veterans with newer soldiers, creating mentor relationships that strengthen unit cohesion while ensuring that hard-won knowledge passes to the next generation. Advanced students work on the subtle timing and distance judgment that separate competent fighters from true masters of their craft. The gladius may be a simple weapon, but wielding it effectively requires years of practice and an intimate understanding of its capabilities and limitations. Marcus himself demonstrates techniques that he learned during his years of service, movements refined through decades of training and proven in battle. Evening approaches as the training day nears its end, but Marcus's responsibilities continue without pause. Equipment inspection follows the final drill, as each soldier cleans and maintains his gear according to the exacting standards that Roman military life demands. Rust on a blade or loose rivets in armor can mean death in battle, making this seemingly mundane task a matter of life and death. Marcus examines each gladius personally, running his finger along the blade to detect nicks or dulling that might compromise cutting effectiveness. Shield bendings receive similar attention, as a broken grip or loose boss can render this essential defensive tool useless at the moment of greatest need. The maintenance is methodical, thorough, and absolutely essential to Roman military effectiveness. The century's records require updating with the day's activities and observations. Marcus notes which soldiers excelled in specific training areas and which need additional attention. Disciplinary actions must be recorded, training deficiencies identified, and recommendations made for individual development. These written reports form part of the administrative system that tracks every soldier's progress and ensures that the legion maintains its combat readiness. Dinner brings the soldiers together once more in their tent groups, the day's exertions creating the appetite that simple military fare satisfies completely. Conversations center on the day's training, with veterans sharing advice with newer soldiers and discussing techniques they observed during the various exercises. These informal discussions often prove as valuable as formal instruction in developing unit cohesion and combat effectiveness. Marcus uses the meal to circulate among his soldiers, listening to their concerns and observing the personal relationships that bind his century together. The 8-man tent groups function as military families, sharing everything from daily rations to mortal dangers. Understanding these dynamics helps Marcus lead his unit more effectively and identify potential problems before they compromise unit performance. The final inspection of the day occurs as darkness settles over the camp, torches and oil lamps providing the light needed for Marcus to examine his century's quarters one last time. Tents must be properly secured, equipment stowed according to regulations, and personal areas maintained in the precise order that Roman military discipline demands. Any deviation from these standards results in corrective action that reinforces the importance of attention to detail. Guard assignments for the night watch are distributed among the soldiers, with Marcus personally briefing each sentry on his specific responsibilities and the challenges he might encounter. Roman camps maintain vigilance throughout the night, with multiple rings of guards ensuring that no enemy can approach undetected. The safety of 5,000 sleeping soldiers depends on the alertness and competence of those who stand watch. Marcus completes his own preparations for sleep, carefully storing his equipment and reviewing the next day's training schedule. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and opportunities to develop his soldier skills, continuing the endless cycle of preparation that keeps Roman legions ready for whatever enemies they might face. His vine staff rests beside his sleeping area, symbol of the authority and responsibility that define a centurion's life. The camp settles into the quiet routine of night, with only the measured footsteps of sentries and the occasional challenge of guards marking the passage of hours. Marcus leads on his simple military cot, his mind reviewing the day's training and planning improvements for tomorrow's exercises. Sleep comes easily to men who have pushed their bodies to the limits of endurance, but it comes with the satisfaction of duty fulfilled and standards maintained. This single day represents thousands of similar days throughout Marcus's career, each one building the skills and discipline that make Roman centurions the backbone of their legions. The relentless attention to detail, the uncompromising standards, the constant preparation for challenges that may never come, all combine to create military units capable of conquering and holding an empire that spans 3 continents. The training never truly ends for a Roman centurion, as each day brings opportunities to refine techniques, strengthen unit cohesion, and prepare for the unknown challenges that await. Whether facing barbarian hordes on distant frontiers or maintaining peace in pacified provinces, the centurion's daily routine of training and preparation ensures that Roman military excellence continues from one generation to the next. As sleep finally claims Marcus and his soldiers, the Roman camp rests secure in the knowledge that another day of preparation has strengthened their readiness for whatever tomorrow may bring. The discipline learned through countless repetitions of basic drills, the strength built through relentless physical training, and the brotherhood forged through shared hardship all contribute to the legendary effectiveness of Rome's military machine. Thank you for joining me on this journey through a centurion's demanding day of training and preparation. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the disciplined world of Roman military excellence, please like this video and subscribe for more historical adventures. Sleep well, and may your rest be as peaceful as a Roman camp under the protection of vigilant sentries. And may their dedication to excellence inspire your own commitment to continuous improvement in whatever challenges you face. Sweet dreams, and remember that the principles Marcus embodied, discipline, attention to detail, continuous learning, and unwavering commitment to those under his care, remain as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago when Rome's eagles cast their shadows across the known world. Video description, 10,000 characters. Step into the leather caligaia of a Roman centurion and experience the extraordinary daily training routine that forged the backbone of history's greatest military machine. This immersive historical bedtime story follows Marcus Aurelius Maximus through 24 intense hours of the disciplined regimen that kept Roman legions supreme for over 4 centuries. Discover the rigorous world of professional Roman military training, from pre-dawn inspections to evening equipment maintenance. Experience the demanding physical conditioning that required soldiers to march 20 Roman miles in 5 hours while carrying 45 pounds of equipment. Witness the intensive weapons training with gladius and scutum, where practiced swords deliberately weighed twice their combat counterparts to build strength and skill. Learn about the sophisticated engineering training that enabled Roman armies to construct fortified camps in just 2 hours, complete with defensive ditches, ramparts, and palisades. Explore the complex formation drills, including the famous testudo or tortoise formation that protected advancing troops from enemy missiles. See how swimming training prepared soldiers to cross rivers in full armor and equipment. This detailed narrative reveals the daily responsibilities of centurions who commanded centuries of 80 men, overseeing everything from individual sword technique to large-scale tactical maneuvers. Understand how the Roman military's emphasis on standardization, discipline, and continuous training created the most effective fighting force in the ancient world. Perfect for history enthusiasts fascinated by Roman military culture, students studying ancient warfare, or anyone seeking peaceful historical content before sleep. This gentle narrative combines scholarly research with engaging storytelling, bringing the Roman military experience to life without violence or disturbing content. The video explores authentic training methods documented by ancient sources like Vegetius, including the use of wooden practice weapons, formation drilling, and the construction techniques that built Rome's empire. Discover how centurions maintained iron discipline while fostering the brotherhood essential for battlefield survival. Subscribe for more immersive historical bedtime stories that transport you to history's most fascinating periods and places. Like and share to help others discover these peaceful journeys through time.